The arena lights burned bright as the night of boxing unfolded with the kind of anticipation that makes seasoned fight fans lean forward in their seats. From the opening bell, there was a sense that this wasn't just another card. It was a proving ground, a stage where prospects would attempt to validate hype and veterans would fight to preserve pride. The undercard set the tone early, but by the time Veyre and Delfine Persoon prepared to step into the ring, the atmosphere had shifted from excitement to something far more electric. This was no ordinary bout. This was a collision destined to stir controversy. The evening began with heavyweights trading leather in a fight that simmered before it boiled. Sardius Simmons showcased the kind of hand speed that makes a big man dangerous, snapping jabs and firing sharp combinations that caught Jonathan Rice between bursts of aggression. Rice had his moments, pressing forward with heavy hands and attempting to bully Simmons against the ropes, but Simmons' composure and counterpunching began to carve out a clear edge. By the time the judges rendered a unanimous decision in favor of Simmons, the crowd had warmed up, sensing that the night was building toward something bigger. Garrett Rice Jr., known as Baby G, followed with a performance that hinted at star potential. Compact, disciplined, and efficient, he dictated pace and distance with the calm of a seasoned veteran. Charles Scott Jr. gave an honest effort, but Rice's technical maturity shone through in every exchange. The judges had little trouble scoring it wide. The message was clear: prospects were stepping into their promise. Then came the moment that shifted the mood entirely. Veyre and Delfine Persoon stood across from one another, two accomplished fighters with reputations forged in grit and high-stakes battles. Persoon, a relentless pressure fighter known for her intensity, had made it clear before the bout that she was wary of how she might be treated. Veyre, sharp and mobile, carried herself with quiet focus. When the referee delivered final instructions, it felt less like a routine formality and more like a warning of tension waiting to explode. From the opening rounds, the fight was physical. Veyre circled intelligently, working angles and landing crisp shots when Persoon attempted to close distance. Persoon, true to form, pressed forward with determination, trying to unleash her straight right hand and impose her will. But the rhythm never quite settled. Clinches came frequently. Arms tangled. Heads pressed together in grinding exchanges that blurred the line between aggression and disorder. Then came the first shock. A point deduction. The referee ruled that Veyre's holding warranted immediate punishment. There was surprise at ringside, confusion even, as no clear prior warning had been evident to many observers. The decision hung in the air like a sudden storm cloud. Persoon, sensing opportunity, pushed forward with renewed urgency. But the chaos did not subside. Instead, it escalated. As rounds passed, the referee's involvement became a central storyline. Another warning. Another deduction. This time Persoon found herself penalized. Frustration crept visibly into her demeanor. She gestured. She protested. The tension between fighter and official became impossible to ignore. The bout transformed from a tactical battle into a messy, grinding affair dominated as much by officiating as by punches. 3 points in total would be deducted over the course of the fight, 2 from Persoon and 1 from Veyre. Each subtraction felt seismic, altering the mathematical landscape of a tightly contested championship bout. The crowd grew restless. Murmurs swelled into audible dissatisfaction. The narrative inside the ring was no longer simply about jabs and hooks. It was about control, authority, and whether the referee's hand had become too heavy. Amid the turbulence, there were still flashes of brilliance. Veyre landed sharp right hands, particularly when she managed to create space before clinches swallowed momentum. Persoon, undeterred, tried repeatedly to fire her straight right from range, but her timing seemed off, disrupted by constant interruptions and entanglements. What could have been a showcase of elite skill became instead a muddy, grinding struggle defined by physicality and frustration. Yet within that chaos lay drama. Every exchange felt amplified by the stakes of potential deductions. Every clinch risked further punishment. The fighters were no longer just battling each other, they were battling circumstance. And in championship boxing, circumstances can be as unforgiving as any opponent. By the championship rounds, fatigue layered itself over controversy. Persoon's relentless style began to slow slightly, while Veyre maintained enough composure to continue picking moments carefully. The referee's presence remained ever looming, stepping in frequently, issuing commands with urgency. It was impossible to watch without feeling that the fight had slipped beyond pure athletic contest into something more volatile. When the final bell rang, there was no sense of clarity, only anticipation mixed with unease. The judges' scorecards would not merely determine a winner, they would validate or condemn the officiating decisions that had shaped the bout. The announcement came methodically. Scores read aloud, each number dissected silently by fans calculating the impact of deductions. And then it was official. Caroline Veyre was declared the new women's super featherweight champion of the world by unanimous decision. The reaction was layered. Applause from supporters. Audible dissatisfaction from others. Persoon stood with visible emotion, the sting of controversy etched across her expression. Veyre, meanwhile, absorbed the magnitude of victory, a championship secured under turbulent conditions. It was a fight that will not be remembered solely for its punches. It will be remembered for the drama of authority imposed mid-battle, for the razor-thin margins altered by split-second rulings, and for the uncomfortable truth that boxing, at its highest level, is always vulnerable to the human element. The night did not end there. Joshua Pagan later delivered a composed performance to retain his lightweight title, cruising toward a unanimous decision with sharp counters and disciplined footwork. But even that solid championship effort felt like an epilogue. The true headline had already been written in controversy. Caroline Veyre versus Delfine Persoon was not clean. It was not smooth. It was not the tactical masterpiece some had hoped for. But it was undeniably dramatic. It exposed the fragile balance between enforcement and interference. It reminded fans that in boxing, the story inside the ropes can pivot in an instant, not just from a punch, but from a call. And now the debate begins. Were the deductions justified? Did they ensure fairness? Or did they alter destiny? Should referees step in early to control chaos, or allow fighters to work through the storm? What did you think of the referee's role in this fight? Did Caroline Veyre earn her championship clearly, or did the point deductions change everything? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy deep, dramatic breakdowns of the biggest fights in boxing, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next story unfolding inside the ring.